This is Mark Whitten.
This is Adam MacArthur.
This is Ann Yatko.
This is Molly Chung.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Yurchak.
This is Daquan Wilshire.
This is Lexi Nieto.
This is Rico Fajardo, and you're watching.
And you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
All right, so this is episode 183 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. I am back finally after like a 3 to almost 4 month hiatus. New setup, new lighting, and new background, which is super cool. Today's topic: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review with my cousin Moang, back on the podcast. He was on the Remake episode where we talked about the Final Fantasy VII Remake game and gave our theories on that, so go check that out. We're going to be essentially doing the same thing here on this episode, but hopefully we can condense as much as we can, because this was like a 90-hour plus game. It's crazy to see how far Final Fantasy VII has come, and like Rebirth just exceeded every expectation of Remake. Slight tangent. I don't know if viewers can see it clearly, but right here on top of my guitar is the Final Fantasy VII orchestra light that they sold at the Rebirth concerts. I got that signed by George Newbern and by I'm blanking on his name, but the actor who plays the Rebirth remake Sephiroth, who's also in Teen Wolf and Superman. Both Sephiroths are voiced by two different Superman, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, dude, so let's just get right into it. Moang, what did you think of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, man? Because when this game dropped, everyone was going crazy about it. I mean, from the trailers to the gameplay to like how different it was from the remake version. What are your thoughts?
It was pretty good. I wouldn't give it a 10, but like it's pretty high up there. Like for sure, it's better than Remake, because what I feel about this game is it more or less addressed most of the problems with Remake. Because especially with the way that the pacing was better. I generally better. It depends. Pacing is about the same as 7, where they stretch it out. But I think the focus on Rebirth was just infinitely better than Remake, was because Remake, most of the parts that dragged along was like the dungeons, and they dragged on a lot of quests. This one's, I think they tacked on a lot of really good things in terms of the social aspect. I think for sure the best part was like getting to know Tifa, Aerith, and Barrett a lot more, because those are where like the most of the filler content was. Because if you go back and play the OG, Cloud's really, most of the characters actually pretty boring in the OG, mostly because it's held back by the writing. Because it's just the way that the characters interact. We've never seen them interact this way.
Yeah, the whole friendship theme, like the little side quests that they had, like, you had to build your friendships with your characters. I thought that was pretty neat, because like that kind of gave you a goal to like interact with certain characters more. It kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy X a little bit, where like if you interact with certain characters more than others, then you get certain cutscenes. So that's what it kind of was with Remake. And I love that they give you the option. You see like the status bar of like, oh, here's your friendship with Barrett, or 13 with Yuffie, Tifa, Aerith, and then it affects you to like the dates, and then like the second date. So like I thought that was really cool to see that. Like that was fun. That gave folks like like some sort of motive to like, okay, I got to be more invested in my characters, and who do I want to pick with, and see what certain cutscenes are. But yeah, that was fun. Who did you get mostly? Because I went the regular route. I went with Aerith. I know some folks got like, a lot of folks are invested with Yuffie, and some, especially with Tifa, with that romance going on. So who did you get?
Tifa for me, because I pretty much went for Tifa. It's just the most obvious, the basic one, aside from going for everyone else. Because I like normally for me it's Tifa, the Aerith, then Yuffie's basically last. Because she's kind of young.
Yeah, they make her really young in this one.
She's really young, and then because even in the it's harder to tell the ages when you're playing the OG, right? Because you can kind of just, if you really vibe with the character portrait, then that's pretty much all you get. Whereas in this one, you get to really see how old they are and how they act, versus like us being like kids trying to read and generate personalities from reading the okay translation. And also like the final options of getting one with the boys too, when you're Sid.
That was a fun one. Because I think you get that if you don't interact with anyone at all. Like it's a default. I thought that was pretty funny though. Like you get all three. You get Kate, Sid, and Vincent. So that's pretty fun. No, I was gonna say like with Yuffie, man, like because they in Integrate they made her like they make her such a likable character. But you like you said you see how young she is. Like and comparing to like the original game, you don't get that that feeling with her at all because like you're just reading the dialogue. But now with the introduction of like voice acting, and then you get to see like the better graphics and all that. And plus, I think with us being older now, right, we're grown adults watching this in Cloud, seeing it in Cloud's perspective in a different way. It's like, okay, so she's more like a younger sibling or like a younger cousin kind of feel. Like she's like a younger person to Cloud instead of like another love interest. But I do like they kind of touch up on that too, like where they kind of tied in Crisis Core, how she met with Zack. And then on her date scene, she kind of mentions like, oh, I had a crush on a soldier too. And so it's kind of like, okay, so you kind of see like she has like it's not like romantics, but it's more like she has a crush on Cloud just because he's so similar to Zack. But I went with the Aerith route, man. I was like, cause we all know she's gonna die, so like she just go on the dates with her before she dies. But yeah, then overall, I thought this game was fun too, man. Cause like I got to play when I was living with Bobby. And Bobby's friend actually bought him a PS5, so that was pretty cool. And we played. It was like the 16 deluxe, so I got to play like 16 for a little bit, but then that's when by the time I played it, 7 was dropping, so I just played 7. But yeah, I played it, and me and Bobby were like racing. Yeah, you can say we were racing because Bobby was playing it first. Because when he played it, I was back here in Michigan visiting my folks. And then when I went back home, when I went back to Texas, I jumped on it. I stayed up like weekends just playing it. But I got to finish the game before Bobby did. But like we were racing and like looking at each other's like hours just to see like, oh, how far did you get? How far did you get? Like make sure we don't save over each other's files. So it was fun. Overall, the game was fun. But I gotta say the only thing I didn't like about Rebirth was the map. The maps are so big, and there's just so much. Like it was overwhelming with content to like you gotta activate the towers and then the treasure map or the treasures and then like the rest stops, like the small things like that. Oh my god, it was fun at first and then it just got so repetitive and I got sick of it.
Yeah, I just felt like they threw in a bunch of stuff to justify the open world when, I mean, it's better, I guess, because compared to the original, there was like nothing. But like having all of everything on that map does kind of overload you a little bit because it feels like a Assassin's Creed game or something. Yeah. Where they just throw in a bunch of locations for you to travel just because it's open world rather than having it have like a genuine interaction with the story.
Yeah, I think that took up a lot of time, honestly, because like I felt like I used so much time just traveling the map and like and I'm a little like OCD with games, right? Because I want to make sure I find the hidden treasures or like make sure I don't miss anything. So I'm like looking through every corner of the map, even when it's like the grasslands or like the Mount Nebo, like I'm just looking through, making sure like, oh, did I miss a spot? Go back and retrace my steps and make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, that took up a lot of time. And I gotta say the mini games were kind of killer for me too. There were some good ones, but man, I think the one that irritated me the most was the Chocobo race, and then like almost anything at the at Gold Saucer, and then the one at Cosmo Canyon when you got to fly with the Chocobo.
Oh, that one was really annoying.
Dude,
the Chocobo game is probably the most annoying one out of all of them.
That one, oh my god! Just thinking about it, like I get PTSD. It's just like it was so annoying because you'd hear Yuffie like, say her lines over and over. I had to mute the game a few times just so I can play. I was just like, I can't do this. Oh, it was so bad.
It's just the layout of the canyon just doesn't. You get lost really easily. And just and getting only the one shot and you fall in, you gotta start all over.
Oh, yep. Yeah, and then you had to like take the wind power stuff. You had to like jump, use your Chocobo to jump on it, and then climb the mountains. And make like that was rough too. Just like trying to make sure you knew which route to take, and then like you said, you mess up, you fall back down. You gotta retrace your steps. And so, yeah, those are my only gripes about the game. I mean, overall, it was fun. I enjoyed this game a lot. The battle system was essentially the same. Graphics were freaking beautiful in this game, dude. Oh my god. Compared to just comparing the remake and rebirth graphics from PS4 to PS5, and just like,
Mhm.
dude, it's so much different. Like the details are just like these slight details. It's just so good. I can't explain it, but it's so good. It's so crisp. Loved it. I feel like the voice acting in this one was a lot better than remake. I thought they did a much better job. I think maybe because these actors got to know the characters more.
I did
Yeah.
not like what they did to Red 13. I thought they character assassinated him pretty hard. Even though
Oh,
it
okay.
makes sense that he talks like that,
Yeah,
but I honestly hated it because it made
Yeah.
him like a little bitch.
He went from like Red 13 to Nanaki, and just like, who the hell's talking right now? I think you get the first glimpse of it when you're at Coast of the Soul, and you hear Air talking to someone. And Cloud's like, "Who are you talking to?" He's like, "Oh, no one." You know, it's Red 13's real voice.
I did
He's
not
just
like that at
He's
all.
just a little kid.
And I get it, right? But at the same time, it just sounds lame. Like they
Yeah.
could have picked someone younger, right? Like I don't know.
I it's understandable because like Red 13 is young at this point, because he's the one that survives at the end. Spoilers if you have not played the game, he's the last standing survivor of the game. But like he's young, so like he has to put on like this manly voice. Like I have to be tough. And then like when he's comfortable with Aerith, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a little kid, you know, I did it to just sound tough." And it's like, what?
They could have taken that out. It would have been fine. To be honest, it would have been fine.
But you know what I love about Red 13 though, was when you're on the boat after Junon, and then like he's dressed as a soldier.
Dude, that was
like,
pretty funny.
and he's walking on two legs. I thought that was pretty fun. And then
It does show how much how hard it is to put, because if you compare like this journey from this one to the OG one was actually pretty dark. Like the way that the game the pre-rendered scenes and the way that everything was kind of like the art direction seemed very dark. Whereas I think the problem with Rebirth and us seeing like everything up close is you don't get that same feeling anymore as you did with the OG one, like that mysterious Mako song playing. Like, you don't get that sense of a mystery anymore with Final Fantasy VII, because we're so focused on the characters. I feel like, because I think if anything, with all the side missions, it did feel like we were kind of like taking baby steps towards the goal.
Yeah, I can see that, because like, you know, with Remake and Rebirth, I think to add on to what you said, I think it's because we know what the outcome is. So they get the writers or the developers get to play with like the emotions of the game a little bit differently, because like, all right, so the majority of our viewers or our players know what's going to happen, so we can make certain things more lighthearted, which I can see why they're doing that too, just to like, I guess they want to like misdirect us. I think that's the best way to put it. But like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun, you know, and then bam, Sephiroth comes in, you know, like, oh shit, you know. So it's, I think, because like I said, I think because we know the outcome, we know the timeline. We're on the boat, so we know we're gonna fight Genova on the boat, you know. So we know the steps to the game, but they have to still make us like feel like it's a new game that we're playing. But speaking on that, dude, what do you think of the card game, Queen's Gambit? I thought that was pretty fun.
It was pretty good. It's still a step under Triple Triad.
Yeah,
it's better than Final Fantasy IX though. Final Fantasy IX's Triple Triad was just a travesty, and then it still has the same issue as Triple Triad though. The original version of the game is really good, and the only thing they do to make it harder is by changing up the rules to make it really dumb for Triple Triad. But like, it's once you get towards late game when you have all the OP stuff, it's not really that hard anymore. And that's the same thing with Queen's Gambit. Once you have all the OP shit, and I would say Queen's Gambit is even worse than Triple Triad, because the way that they have it set up is everything's pre-done. So if you just look at a guide, the guide will just tell you exactly how to beat it, versus having that random trial and error, where it's like it doesn't feel like a card game, right? It's more like it's kind of like it's like a puzzle that you already know the answer to. Because it's like you can't, if you look ahead at any of them, it's all pre-done, right?
Yeah.
Versus like Triple Triad, where it's like two random. The other opponent's got 5 random cards. You don't know who's gonna win, and you probably might win depending on like how good your cards are. Whereas with Queen's Gambit, once you get enough like of the good pieces, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah. I think what the initial run of it was fun. Like when you first play it up to like Coast of the Soul, and then like you said, once you get all the character cards and the summons, it's pretty cake. I gotta say though, I cheated at the finale where you fight the girl at the end, where you verse the girl at the end. I had to look on YouTube. I was like, how do I beat this? How do I beat this character, man? So like, I just used the same deck build as the YouTuber, and I was like, all right, I won. So like, I
No,
just
it's complicated at first. Like I think there's a really fun strategic part of the game because it throws so many different mechanics at you.
yeah. So that was pretty cool. And just another slight tangent. If you hear a baby crying in the background, that's because Spoiler Force has an additional family member. My niece came home the other day, so she's gonna be pretty vocal. So love you, Octavia. Hopefully she can be on the podcast when she's older. So back to Rebirth. Man, I keep saying remake, but Rebirth. Man, let's just get started on like I wrote down some of the notes here, but like I said, we won't go through things detail by detail. But we start off in calm and essentially just pick up from where remake ended. I what I liked about in calm was like the music for calm. It's so good. Music in calm is good. But I think was it in calm where like Cloud and Tifa had like that moment where they're standing outside the door? Was that in calm, or was that in a different area? Where,
They were in the middle talking about if Cloud remembered anything. Yeah. That I think Calm was different this time around because it was more empty when we first went there in the OG one, and the only thing we went there for was to talk about the past, and then that was pretty much it. Whereas this game kind of goes deeper into like how like why doesn't Cloud remember, and Tifa's like, bro, why don't you remember?
yeah. Dude, this whole game is like just Tifa enabling Cloud. That's what like me and Bobby were playing it, and we were just like, dude, why is she like? That's the questions we were asking. Is like, why is she just letting Cloud run amok? Like she knows the truth. Like she knows what happened. She was there in Nibelheim. She saw Zack, and just like Cloud's talking as if he's Zack, and she's just standing there like, oh, okay, I guess, just letting him roam. Like, dude, you're a bad friend.
It's hard because he can't even tell her that he was there because he doesn't remember. Even though we see him that he was there. It's like,
yeah,
bro.
that's what I'm saying. Just like Cloud is like just saying all these things, and Tifa's just, I guess, like that's what happened. And even like I like that even the other characters adjusted to Tifa, like you sure that's what happened? Because like they're talking about it, and she just letting him do his thing. So yeah, essentially Calm was just picking back up, and I like that. I do like that in this game where each area you're in, I just love like the draw. I guess you could say like not drawback, but like the callback to the OGT, right? You get to see just how it's similar it is, but they also have expanded the map. Like I didn't think Calm was going to be as big as it was in this game. Like in the OG game, it was just a small little town, and you were just in and out.
Well, they added a whole scene to it. Like you went in there, you got ambushed by Shinra, and then they had a whole like chase scene, and then they went underground. It's weird how much they gave to Calm, even though in the original Calm, you only would ever go there once.
Yeah, you're just in and out, and then onto the map. It's just like in this one, they added so much stuff. Let's see. I thought Chocobo Ranch was a nice twist. Chocobo Ranch, like it wasn't like the original game. It was like the younger kid and his sister.
Oh yeah.
And I do like that. Yeah. Okay, what was your thoughts on the whole Chocobo stuff? Because like I thought we were gonna catch Chocobos and raise them like in the OG, and this one is already kind of like preset. Each map had their own variant.
Yeah, I see why they did the way they did it because it's just more simple, and they did it mostly just so that it would work with the way that they had the open world set up, because each area was a different chocobo for a different like exploration. Because even with like the snake that guards the tunnel, you have to fight him regardless anymore. You just I thought it was okay. I mean, I'm fine with it the way it was because it's more simple, I guess. Because I don't think that the chocobos weren't that important to go too crazy on. Because honestly, I think if they do anything like that, they'd probably save it for the third game when the entire world is open.
Yeah, and then they'll let you do the gold chocobo. I'm kind of glad we didn't have to do chocobo raising like that. It was just I was hoping that I wanted to see like how are they going to incorporate that, but they made, like you said, they made it simple with each map had their own chocobo. And dude, the chocobo mini games during the maps where you had to like, which map was it where you had to like sneak sneak through with the chocobo and make sure it didn't get hit, or make
I think
sure.
that was the blue one, right?
Yeah, dude, that one was. Those games were annoying too.
They're really annoying because they're
Yeah.
also really jank. That's like
Yeah.
the most annoying thing.
Yeah, it was. I didn't really like those at all. But Junon was fun when you get to Junon. And then
They went all out
yeah,
with
you get to meet Yuffie
everything.
there. Yeah, I thought that was cool too, right? Because that's how they introduced Yuffie into the game versus like in the original where you just run into her in the forest. And this one they introduced her into the game where she picks up right off of Intergrade, where she's
because you can't miss her anymore. Versus the original, you could miss her.
Yeah, but I did like how they did that. And then plus this was part of the demo too, where you got to experience, you got to play the flashback with Cloud, and then you also get to play this boss fight. But I thought that was pretty fun seeing all that. I like how they added more. I hated that dolphin game too. The dolphin game was so ass. The mini game, I hated that.
I thought the song was a banger.
The song was cool. I just hated the game. I hated. I was like, dude, I just want to get this over with so I can get to the next stage. And then when you're on the ship, the Junon ship, and all that was pretty fun too. Just seeing like how big and open that was, right? Because in I believe in the OG, you just like on the boat running around, but in this one, you got to like you had to dress up as the Shinra soldier, and then you had not just do the parade, but you have to sneak around, and then other characters dressed up too, so that was fun. They added more layers to that. They gave Barrett the sailor suit. Did he wear that in the original too? I don't recall.
Yeah, he wore the sailor suit, but I just think that they just wrapped up his gun. That's the most weird part about it. It was Barrett and Red 13. They were in the sailor suits, or no, not sailor, but the Shinra Force.
Yeah,
13.
That was pretty fun. And then up until where you're going to Coast of the Soul, that's where you fight Genova, and then just like it's just more just kind of picking back up from the original game. And I think Coast of the Soul was. I felt like when you got to Coast of the Soul, the mood of the game kind of dropped a little bit because it went from like you just got done fighting a pretty big boss to you're doing mini games now, just like on the beach doing mini games, and that kind of threw me off a little bit because I was like, I don't got time for mini games, man. I just want to play.
One big beach episode with mini games and a date in the big ass hotel that you're gonna go staying in. What?
Yeah.
And then
I do like how they. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We already knew that the Hojo fight was coming too, but then that was even another wild one.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yep, meeting Hojo and walking into him. I thought that was pretty fun too. Like you had to pick like which group do you want to go to, Tifa, Aerith. You had to pick which one. I do like that. That's it. What was there was one mini game that I liked, but two was the piano mini game. I actually like that. I thought that was pretty fun, just because I like the songs on the piano. I like that. That was pretty cool. Let's see what else. So after Coast of the Soul was Mount Coral. So you go through the caves, and that's where you fight the Turks. I thought that when they introduced Elena, that was pretty fun. She was more into this game, fighting Reno and Rude, and I think did we fight Song, or is it at the end where you fight him? Because I don't recall.
That one time, and at the end of the game, right before we fight the Red Dragon, the one that just before that fight, because we fight both Reno and Rude. And then the second team fights Sung and Elena. Yeah,
so I was hoping they throw a song in the game where like he just kind of there until the end, and just like he's just there. They focus more on Reno and Rude and Elena, and then after Coral, that's where you. That after Coral, that's where you get out, and then that's when you go to Barrett's village, right? Was that it?
Barrett's Village, Gongaga, Cosmo King. No, it was Barrett's Village was
because that's when you go to Gold Saucer. But then
it was closer to Sal, and then we Coral. I'm trying to remember Coral. I think it was Coral to his village. I think
yeah, because they had that whole like they made it seem like you're gonna go to Gold Saucer, but then that's when you get captured, and then you go to that underground city and do all like the side stuff, and then like go out into the desert and ride the car, and then that's where you go meet Dine and do Barrett's story. I was hoping that was a pretty fun story for Barrett. I liked it a lot more in this one versus the OG.
Mhm.
I tanked up Barrett a lot. Like I leveled him up and just like prepped him because it was gonna be 1-on-1, but it was kind of too simple. I was like, damn, I kind of overtrained him because like you max out certain materia and the way depending on how you equip them, and then I do like that in this one too. Like it carried up from remake when you get the weapons and you have to master each
Mhm.
skill set. I like that, so I worked on that a lot. Just like, all right, you gotta get your characters all these skill sets so that way you don't have to you don't forget any. Let's see here. After what, Mount Coral, Gold Saucer, then yeah, Gongaga. You take the card to Gongaga, and I thought Gongaga was a big one. I didn't think we were gonna get there and like spend as much time as you did. I
It's
thought the
bigger
trailers
than
were,
yeah. It was pretty big compared to what it normally was. Back then, it was like just
dude, it was like calm.
Gongaga and yeah.
Yeah, Gongaga back in the OG was like calm. You just go in there, get a few cutscenes, and you're out.
Mhm.
And this one they expanded it, and I like I said, the trailers killed it for me because if they just left it a mystery, and then we saw Cisne in there,
Mhm.
bro, I was just so mad because I knew she was there because of the trailers. I'm like, man, if the trailers just kept her a secret, Crisis Core fans, that was such fan service to Crisis Core fans. Just that she
Mhm.
stayed there. She promised. She kept her promise to Zach. She was with Zach's parents. I thought that was cool. And like the whole game, like she doesn't even tell them her name. She's just kind of there. And then going like the forest in Gongaga was huge. Like Bobby
Mhm.
hated playing that game. Like
I
the
hated
song
that
was
area too.
Bobby hated the song. Like it was so like that tribal music.
It was
Bobby,
pretty mid. Like I don't
yeah.
think that compared to the other areas, it was kind of I guess it's just trying to make it sound like a jungle.
So like that was super annoying playing that game because we were in that map for so long, and then like we kept playing it and Bobby just got sick of the song. He was just like,
It's
dude,
confusing. It's a confusing map. Zip
yeah.
lines and going up and going down is different.
Depending, like if you look at your map in the corner, like it doesn't really make sense to because like that's on a 2D plane. So like if
Mhm.
you're stuck in the corner, it's like, dude, how do I get on the other side? And if you take the wrong zip line, you have to again like Cosmo Canyon, you have to just know your route, and it was just so
Mhm.
annoying doing that, going back and forth and studying the map. Uh, and then there was also like, oh, if we forgot to mention from Costa del Sol was like that other side stuff where you get the trophies for that one dude that was from Midgar, that red hair guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to. He's trying to open up his own hotel, and so you're there at his hotel, and
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's like another whole can of worms because there's like so many trophies. Like I tried to go for the 100%, I couldn't do it. The final there's like a combat sim. The final combat sim is super hard.
yeah, I didn't even bother. Like, I just like let's see how much I can get with this, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I
I
guess
got yeah.
yeah.
Go
You
ahead.
have to be in hard mode too because I when I
Uh
play these ones, I play normally and I do my hard mode the next playthrough.
Yeah. So I couldn't get through. I just got through his story. I wanted to get through his side story and get that like check,
Mhm.
get that green check on my screen. I was like, good, I'm done with him. Like I don't want to deal with him no more. It's so annoying. Yeah, that's so after Gongaga, you go to Cosmo Canyon.
Yep.
Like we kind of brought this up already. Like it's just the map was huge, annoying, but the story in Cosmo Canyon, my God, I love seeing how they expanded on that. Get to explore
Mhm.
Cosmo Canyon more in the village and see like the dude that took care of Nanaki. I thought it was fun seeing that they added more to the story, just like the whole like that that dome scene, like where they're in the
Yeah.
science room. I thought that was cool.
I thought Bugenhagen would have given us more information, but he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, it was just cool to see that cutscene. That cutscene was really good. I thought they
Mhm.
did a good job. Um, yeah, I really like that. I like that they just expanded more on these maps and just kind of give you more background to the lore. Oh, and then there's also that mini game where like it's like a not towers defense, but like where they're like the cube. They're back to the the cube 3D look. You know what I'm talking about? There was like that
Yeah.
that battle, that army game.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of that was kind
Oh,
of annoying too.
they replaced that one, yeah, with the. I mean, this one was less confusing than the original one because the original one, I think you had to use your own money to make soldiers,
Oh
and then
yeah, yeah.
so I only liked it just because it's better than the original.
Yeah, the original one was rough. The original one was like more towers defense. If you didn't have money, you can't play that game.
Yeah, you had to use your own money, which is so stupid. Which is, I mean, I guess it makes sense.
That was more like end games. I remember like I had our other cousin yell at me like once we got towards the end game, we went back because we had so much gil, and so we just made everything like top tier and just went through it. But yeah, that was kind of it was just more of a hassle really. But after Cosmo Canyon, and then we go to Nibelheim, which was a fun part of the story. I hate Kate Sif's part though. Like I hated that part of the game. Dude, there was one part of the Kate Sith mission where like you had to throw the boxes to climb the elevator.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't do it right, and so I was stuck on that same part for like 30 minutes. I was going in and out of the map, going back up, back around. I'm like, dude, what am I doing wrong? Like, I can't click that elevator. I went on YouTube, and like it was essentially you either use the big Moogle or that Mog to throw the box. I'm like, I felt so stupid, dude. I'm like, I wasted 30 minutes.
He plays so weird compared to the other characters.
Oh yeah, then, for the bat. You mean like battle wise for Kate Sith?
It's both battle and regular, right? Because in the way he operates is the way he plays. So that's why he's like such a weird character to play around.
Oh yeah, because like you have to summon him and then walk around with him, and then if you don't use your bar, then it's just Kate Sith rolling around. Yeah. That I thought that was a nice little thing though, like because I guess in 7 we're so adjusted to the Mog instead of Kate Sith, the actual Kate Sith, so like to have him be a summon for Kate Sith, that's what's pretty cool. We'll talk about battles and characters in a bit, but I do like that they let you play as other characters, but Kate Sith was just annoying. He has like a mini boss battle, so you have to just use him, and that was rough because like if you have to if you don't equip him well, you'll lose easily. But I think
one thing they didn't fix with the original, because one of the worst things about the original was new party members and switching materials, and I was hoping that they'd fix that. In this one, they didn't do that at all.
Yeah,
it's if this was characters and switch materia, it's a pain in the ass.
But I do like though, like at least you can still go on your screen and like change out materia versus like if they were out of your group, you couldn't go back and get it. So like at least they had that. The OG, I remember the OG when they were out of the game and you gave them material, you couldn't use it until you got to the next part of the story. So like I'm glad like in this one, at least when they're out of this part, like you can go into your screen. All right, good. Take all of Cloud's material, equip it to the characters that you have, and then switch it back. That was pretty cool. But yeah, Kate Sith's part was a rough one. I didn't really like that. But I do like though when you get to the mansion and then they start going more into like Cloud's story. And then you meet Vincent. We were kind of wrong on this part. I don't know if you recall our last episode. We were wrong on this theory because I knew we were going to meet Vincent. I knew he wasn't going to be playable, but meeting Sid, Vincent, and Kate Sith, having the whole group there was kind of like, okay, so they do introduce the whole group, but you just don't play Sid and Vincent. So they're saving them too.
They pretty much did a Red 13 for them. Like Red 13 was only in the last game, but you couldn't play him.
Yeah. But at least he fought in your group though. But in this one, Vincent and Sid didn't do shit. They were just in your group for the story.
Which is weird.
But I wasn't expecting that boss fight though with Vincent. That threw me for a loop. Crazy. That threw me for a loop. I was like, yo, this is so cool. And you get to see his transformation into the beast. That was fun. That was pretty fun. And that was really cool. And I like the casting from as much as I love Steve Bloom. Matt Mercer did a great job as Vincent. For those who don't know, Matt Mercer is the voice of Levi in Attack on Titan for English dub. So I thought that was a good choice pick. But that was fun. That battle was cool. I actually did like when you go back and when you can go back and replay your chapters. I go back to that one and just play because I love that cutscene where he just challenges Cloud, and then you see like how old he is. Like he's trying to work the Shinra tech, and Kate Sith has to help him. Like, oh no, you're doing it wrong. Here you go. Like, this is how you do it. So he's an old head. Let's see. So that was pretty fun. That's once all the characters got together, and like I do like that they just bring the party together. So that was pretty fun. And then up until where you go, so after Nibelheim, then that's pretty much towards endgame, right? Nibelheim, go back to Gold Saucer, and then that's when you go to the Temple of the Ancients. So Temple of the Ancients is more endgame, so we'll pick up on that in a little bit. But so Mong, now that we've touched up on those bases, battle system wise, what did you think of this game? Because I know that there was a lot of new things added to this game, and also like with the synchronizations, like from Integrate and all that. What was your thoughts on that?
I do like it better than the original ones because they fixed up a lot of the bosses where they just had HP for no reason.
Yeah,
And the pacing and combat of this game was just a little bit better.
yeah.
It's kind of hit or miss too, because especially since they play hard mode. Because the problem with when you play in the harder mode, you kind of see the flaws of it more. I would say still not adding any sort of control over your your companions. It's kind of a L. Just because in being able to manipulate like what your party members would do, depending on how much HP they have, would come in handy rather than having to multitask super hard between all three of them. I thought Cloud played way better here than he did in the original one. They played I think they actually did play very different. I forgot what it was though. I'm trying to see. I mean, there's not much to complain about. It's pretty good. I think they, in terms of like as a turn-based action, like at the hybrid, I think they've really found the middle ground between the two.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yep.
If there's anything I wish they would do better, would be summons. I think if they found a way to introduce summons in easier and more frequently, it'd probably be better. I don't know, I guess there isn't too much to say because it's pretty good. I think overall it's a solid combat system, just a little bit above the original, because I think it's hard for them not to improve over the original.
I think the pacing wise, I think that was much better. Like it didn't feel so slow when you're playing this one. Like in Remake, it felt like there's like a little time lag a little bit. But in this one, they kind of like did things really smooth. They smoothed it over. I thought that was really good.
A big one is because they threw in more puzzles, right? Because and the problem with the remake was that it was just hallways and hallways of just like fighting monsters in the sewers. Whereas this one, you get a good mix of monsters and doing puzzles, especially in Mount Coral, right?
It didn't feel like a grind, but like in Rebirth, I thought that you could utilize your characters more in this one. So like, if you needed Yuffie or Barrett for long range, you had them. It wasn't just like spamming with Cloud and Tifa with like close range combat. Or and then you had like your support characters like 13 and Kate Sith, which was pretty fun. I think for me the standout in this game was Yuffie, her doppelganger technique. Dude, that was such a lifesaver. That one was a good one. And then Aerith too. I leveled up Aerith like crazy because like I got all her techniques down. I really loved her one where like it's the area of effect one where like all the lasers come down. That was such a OP technique, man. I just used that one. Like I won so many battles with that one. Kate Sith was fun because he could do like, what was it? He can do like the summoning technique.
He throw a bunch of random dice that'll do damage.
So that was fun. He was fun with that one. I like that a lot. That was a pretty different one with Kate Sith, like because he can do both support and do like heavy damage at the same time. So that was cool. But yeah, dude, like I thought the battle system was fun, man. Like it was much smoother in this one. Like I said, I really like the different ways that they utilize each characters. And so like if they did that with each character, I can't wait for the third one where they bring in Sid and Vincent, because that's gonna be crazy. I can only picture like Sid, since he's a dragoon, so he's gonna be the one jumping up and down with aerial attacks with his spear, Vincent with his gun, and then for long range, and then he's gonna transform into his beast modes for close range. So that's gonna be crazy, and that's gonna be like so good. Let's see here, what else I have. Battle system was good, and I think that's pretty much it for the gameplay. I mean, other than that, like besides all the puzzles, like I said, it was mostly the maps that was just so time consuming. Gilgamesh, what you think of him? Because he was a pretty fun side quest too.
Gilgamesh was fun. It was longer. I thought it was kind of a little unnecessary the way you got to him, because there's so much to do just to get to him. It was fun. I mean, I think it's a fun super boss. And he was pretty hard. Other than that, only. I mean, it's fine. It makes sense. It's Gilgamesh. He's supposed to be in like every timeline or something.
Yeah.
And only thing I didn't like about it was it just took too long to get to him because it was almost not worth it.
Because you play him throughout the whole game, and then up until like the end game, that's where you go to the island where he's at. And then I thought this was pretty good setup too, like where you got to fight 2 summons at once.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of get you into like the battle sims where you battle each summon, kind of learn how they play, and then when you go and do the Gilgamesh quest, you fight 2 summons at once. I was like, holy shit, that was pretty rough. The one that made me most nervous was Odin because of his.
Odin's the hardest one. Well, not the hardest
Yeah.
one, but he's the most annoying one because he's more
Yeah.
of he's just a DPS check. That's literally
Yeah.
it.
So that Odin was the most annoying for me. I was like, shit, you got to battle Odin and another one. And Phoenix was annoying too because Phoenix could heal.
Mhm.
So I
And
was
then,
like,
yeah, Alexander was like a
Yeah.
huge summon with someone else.
yeah.
None of them is harder than this is the battle sim zone. There's the battle sim when you have to beat like 10 really hard ones in a row, and I think the last 3 are like Sephiroth, and it's like, bruh,
I didn't even get to that, dude. Like,
really,
there
it's
was
really hard.
there was parts like because I know that there's only certain ones in hard mode where you can play. I didn't even get to that. I didn't even bother playing in hard mode. There was one summon the normal mode that I couldn't even beat. So I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm playing.
Because hard
the
mode
one
is
in
pretty
hard
much no items,
Yeah.
and it's all it's fun. I think the game is funner in hard mode because the hardest part about hard mode is that final act. Because if you already know, it's like literally just 13 phases of boss battles. That's literally it.
Well, talking about the Sims, dude, like the Chadley, I think it's his name, right?
Yeah.
They added more to his story. You find out he's another Sephiroth clone too.
Yeah, I did not like. I think it's just, they should keep Chadley to a minimum.
Yeah, him and like his partner in the game, like
Mhm.
every time on the map you hear it's kind of like that fairy and
Mhm.
Legend of Zelda, like, hey, listen, so like
Yeah.
it felt like that.
That's just one of those where they're adding too much. Because I don't know, like the story is already good on its own. It's like, and when you don't, because there's some, I think like what the I think it was the Jin, or what was the people that the Anunnakis people were fighting. Was it the Jin or the
yeah, the demons, like the underworld stuff.
Yeah, so because before we didn't know anything about the black. Actually, the original one we didn't even know what the black materia was. We only knew what the white one was, and then now we kind of have a better idea what it is now.
Yeah, and this one they touched up more on like I said with Cosmo Canyon's story, but like not in the monsters that were underground and that battled Red 13's dad. They expanded more onto that, the lore onto that, and then like they made the deal with them too, like, oh, let's stop Sephiroth and give you back your black materia. That was I believe that was all new. Like that wasn't even in the OG. Like you didn't even bother like dealing with them. It was more of a story. So yeah, dude, yeah, good thing you brought that up because I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah, it goes in pretty quick.
Yeah,
I was just confused. I'm like, this was not in the original game because
Yeah.
we knew nothing about the black materia. It was mostly just the white materia.
Yeah, because I think the black materia was going to be like the surprise plot twist in the original. Like, oh my god, there's another one, and that's where you're at Temple of Ancients. But yeah, in this one, because I forgot in Rebirth, when you play that part, you're playing as Nanaki throughout the whole thing. Him and Barrett are like teaming up, and yeah, you had to use Nanaki to climb up the rocks and all that stuff. I remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's coming back to me now. It's been a while since I played, so like I'm just recalling that stuff.
It was like last year. It was a long time ago.
Like I said, there's just so much to this game, and they're just a lot. And I like I said, I like that they gave each character like moments. You got to play each character and see the more expanded story. But yeah, let's see. I think that's essentially it. Because Gilgamesh was towards the end, and then like once you battle him at the end, you get him as a summon. So I did that, and then I equipped him the cloud. I just gave this Gilgamesh to summon the cloud. But once you get the Temple of Ancients, that's where like that's end game. You can't come back to the map. So that's the last time like they even like let you know like, hey, complete all your side quests or whatever you want to do.
That's the funny thing, because that the only thing really much to miss is the ending, is because everything that happens up to the ending is basically what happens in the original timeline. So like that the remake, besides the Zack flashbacks, right?
Yeah.
Which they're throwing in, everything that kind of happens the exact same way as the original one, which is kind of weird and a little annoying to me because of how crazy the ending of Remake was, because
Yeah.
they teased a crazy ending, twist ending, and then this entire game, which makes it the best one, is like it doing nothing that changes the game.
I think if anything, it's more so just like the narrative. I think that's that they focused more on, was like the changing of the narrative. Because once they introduced like once you got through the Temple of Ancients and did the final battle, like once that with like, oh, it's not just one timeline. There's multiple worlds or multiple
Mhm.
timelines. Now the change of narrative, and that was like, come on, Nomura, like we got this
Yeah.
enough already, man.
At the ending, the ending felt like a Kingdom Hearts
Yeah,
battle.
that's what I'm saying. It's just Kingdom Hearts, man. Like, bro.
Zack and Cloud meeting is the same thing as fucking Riku and Sorby.
Yeah, that's like fan service. It was cool fan service, but I was like, come on, Nomura, like we saw this already, man.
It was a fun scene though. Seeing
Yeah.
Cloud and Zack just like team up was goated, but also like why?
Yeah. I gotta say that when I saw that though, like I was up all night playing already. So like the last few hours of the game, I was up all night playing, and Bobby and Lynn were like out of town. They were just coming home, and I was still up playing. So
It's like a
I
3-hour
knew
ending, man. Oh,
I knew
man.
Zack was gonna because we were in our last episode, we talked about like how Zack was gonna be incorporated in this game, and I thought they did that well with the flashbacks. Like, where okay, so you get hints of Zack throughout the game, but it wasn't until the end where everything like tied together. Like, okay, so Zack is also a part of the the change of time, the
It's
timelines
the
and all
most
that.
confusing one because it's the
Yeah.
one where he dies so many times in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay attention not to him dying, but you have to pay attention to which timeline he is in, and the way that his timeline is represented is through like the beavers or something that are on the
Dog,
walls
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah,
The beavers, the dog, which was like, I literally right before we recorded, I just got done watching a video on a recap of that because like it's just if you play this game not knowing the lore, like you said, it's confusing as hell because like what the hell is happening with these timelines? There's multiple Zacks, multiple Bigs, there's multiple Clouds, multiple Airfs going on, and Sephiroth's in the middle of everything. So it just like once the end was like, it was so chaotic because like you're seeing Zack and Cloud playing different parts, and then like they tease the idea of like in Zack's timeline where Cloud's in the wheelchair that whole time, and then Cloud's consciousness goes to that one, and then he goes on a date with Aerith, and you realize you're on a different timeline now, and Aerith's explaining the lore behind that. It was just so much to take in, seeing that like, okay, so Sephiroth's endgame is to merge all the timelines into one or something like that. And it made me think of what's it, Infinite Crisis, like the DC stuff, like with the Flash and all the multiverse stuff.
yeah.
Like, it made me think of that. And it just, there was a lot to go on. And then on top of that, you have the Arbiters of Fates that they're defying. And then like once you get to the end game where Aerith's praying at the altar, and just like everything was going crazy. Like you see, like I like this. I do like that in this one where you think Cloud saves Aerith, because that's supposed to be like the big climactic part of the game. And then you just see the shifts in different worlds, and like there's one where Aerith, he blocks the sword, there's one where Aerith dies, and then there's like so many different versions where like the holy materia where one's lighted, one's not. It's just, oh my god, dude, there's so much to go on.
Yeah, I'm pretty mixed on it because the thing is they threw so much at you. I think they threw so much confusion at you. It wasn't sad.
Yeah, it took away from like that holy shit moment, because like when we got that in the OG, it's like, oh dude, like she's gone, she ain't coming back.
We didn't really find out until the end because he started hallucinating and like, wait, Aerith's alive? Wait. And then it's when you go back, you realize the Aerith that helped you out was like the multiple different Aeriths that you ran into were like different Aeriths.
Yeah.
That's what they really throw at you. That's why the ending was just really like confusing, where you couldn't really feel anything because it was more like, what the heck's going on?
Because like it's just like you don't feel that sense of loss for the party. because you know that she's gonna come back and help the group, and then
Well, and we're expecting it too, right? We're expecting
yeah.
the iconic scene. We kind of didn't get the iconic scene at all.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I think if anything, I did feel, I thought they did well with the other characters, how they felt the loss of Aerith. Because like when I was
Yeah.
playing that boss battle, I was like feeling those emotions. Like I guess it was the music too, because the crescendo of the orchestra when you're fighting Genova with the parties, and like when you're split amongst the groups, and like you have, you know, you're playing as Tifa, Yuffie, Barret. Like I thought that was
Mhm.
fun seeing the character. You can kind of feel the character's grief through that
Well,
boss battle.
It's crazy because it felt like the final battle to the original game. Because
Yes.
because you're playing everyone in the party. Wait, is this like the final battle for the original game? Because it's not. This is like
Yeah, they're
like a
definitely teasing.
yeah, a crazy fight that's similar to the final battle. So I guess what they're saying is that the final battle for the next game is going to be huge.
Yeah, no, it has to be like the way how they did this one, and they
Mhm.
teased like with the party fighting Sephiroth and like going back and forth with Cloud and Zack. Like, dude, it was. I gotta say the final battle for this one was like it exceeded my expectations. Like it blew out Remake.
Mhm.
Again with the fan service with Zack and Cloud, I was not expecting to have Zack in the party to fight. Like I screamed when I saw that shit.
Mhm. And then they
Like
take it away from you so
yeah,
fast. It's like,
yes, I was like,
bro.
dude, I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's such a tease. What a tease of Cloud and Zack teaming up just to split them up. I was like, man.
We'll talk
But,
later. Just kidding.
yeah, but I'm glad that they gave Zack a solo battle too. So that was pretty fun. And
Mhm.
for Crisis Core fans, like if you're familiar with his techniques from that game, like it was fun seeing that, being able to play
Yeah.
Zack.
We didn't get to play him
Uh,
enough because he felt like the most fun to play.
yes. Yeah, I hope that in the last part that I hope that they let you build up his character, because I think in Rebirth his stuff was already set, like his actions and commands were
Yeah,
set
yeah, he
already.
was the pre-character already.
Yeah,
I think it's like a 50. Honestly, I was surprised if he became a playable character. I'd be surprised because there's so much to do, right? And then like if they're gonna bring him back, they better do it right away. Because if they don't do it right away and do it like halfway through, it'd be kind of eh.
yeah, that would suck. I think they would have to introduce him in the beginning. You cannot play him like
Mhm.
midway through the third part and just like, all right, you got to build up Zack.
I feel like they might just pussy out though and just do the same way they made this one. Just like do like 12 chapters of playing the exact same way as the original game, and then final chapter just do something big.
You get a like a level 100 Zack off the bat. I don't know, that would
Yeah.
kind of suck, man. Like that would, because I don't know. I guess for me, I think my I hope what they do with Zack is like they let you build him up, because like if them teasing Zack at the end was already this cool, just imagine playing him throughout, like maybe not throughout the whole game, but just like you get like pieces of him, like more pieces of him, and then more battle
Mhm.
scenes of them. Because a lot of his narrative in this game was more like cutscenes. It was just him
Yeah.
walking around, a lot of talking. It wasn't much like battle. So I hope they add
Yeah.
more of that battle part into
He was
this last
basically
one.
back in Midgar, and
Yeah.
we just left Midgar.
Yeah. So he was pretty much just in Midgard the whole time. So like
Mhm.
it was pretty. I thought it was pretty funny too. Like when you get the POV of Cloud in the chair, and so when Zack and Aerith are talking,
Mhm.
you could just move Cloud's like vision to like look around the room. I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, dude, essentially, you know, up until like they beat Sephiroth, you know, I thought that was pretty cool too. Just seeing
Mhm.
like Sephiroth like explaining the lore to Cloud. He just like, you know, everything is separated, so we need to bring everything back together. And then you get Aerith and Cloud for the last part, the last battle. I thought that was pretty neat to see that, you know, instead of just being Cloud versus Sephiroth like in the last one,
Mhm.
Aerith jumps in. So you get to battle Sephiroth one more time. But I do like that they you know, this is just all, like I said, this is just all set up for the last battle in the next game. But man, I just thought it was really good. Like this whole sequence up until like the end credits, like just the battle. Like man, like this is how you build a final boss kind of thing. Like I thought that was pretty fun. But after all that, uh when we see Cloud hallucinating more, like the party's grieving about Aerith, you know, and he's just sitting there smiling like he's talking to Aerith. Like no one's questioning him. Like
Yeah.
Tifa gives him a weird look, but like no one's questioning him, and just like, okay, so let's just move on. So that was pretty funny. I do like that with Nanaki being able to connect to the earth. He can
Mhm.
sense air through. I thought that's a nice twist. I like that, because I think maybe in the next game, maybe he'll have a bigger part in that too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's the ending's going to be very different and very. I would be surprised if the ending was the same as the original one because the original one didn't even really have a good ending because it kind of just ended. Everyone just kind of just dies.
I think the original it was more focused on Cloud and Tifa because it's just Tifa pulling him out of the meteor or not meteor the was it the volcano or whatever that
Mhm.
that the last area, just her saving him, and then
And then the world just getting hit right by the
yeah the holy stops meteor, but then they still get hit anyway, and then
and then that's where it ends.
yeah,
And
and that's
then
it.
and all we know is that we know they survived, right? Because the ending was basically it was essentially Advent children,
Mhm.
and then everyone ends up dying anyways because because at the beginning of the movie was Nanaki running and everything was gone.
Yeah, I mean that was like the end credit for the OG game too. It was like after because
Oh,
it was like, but it's like 2000 something years later or something like that, like a
okay.
couple hundred years later, and then the Naki's like the last one standing, but you just see Midgar covered in like in the
Yeah, the
jungle and
trees.
all that,
Yeah.
yeah, the trees and all that. But yeah, it's just I thought that was I think with how they're doing this ending, man, I they set it up pretty well. I do like that they touch up more on the sky where like where Cloud sees the torn sky and he's like, "Don't look up," and Barrett's, "Why not? Like, there's nothing wrong with the sky." So like, we're seeing Cloud see different things now. So this is gonna play such a huge part towards the end because when I want to say they're saving it up for when the big reveal, like right when he goes mentally batshit crazy. I think they're saving that up for that, and then like him having the black materia at the end. I didn't expect that.
Oh yeah. He had the black materia. It was hiding in him.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming it's either going to be him going crazy and Zach having to stop him, because I know, like I said before, it's going to be a crazy ending because they could pretty much do anything but what actually happened at this point.
Yeah. Well, it definitely opened the doors, right, for this third part, because now that we've seen multiple timelines, we're seeing Cloud see different things now in this game. He's still seeing Earth. And then there's Zach in the game now. He's a big part of the game now.
Well,
So
he's
like
his own dimension that he's overcome, right?
yeah. So like there's just so much you can do now. Like what we thought what they did in Remake, they really like kicked down the door with Rebirth. And I don't know, man. Like it's hard. It's kind of hard to theorize because it's like, I mean, it's fun to theorize, but it's gonna be. I think the options or like to guess what's gonna happen is much more broad now because like
It's a yes and no. I'm just more annoyed because essentially there's no rule. My problem with time travel is that there are no rules and there is no logic because you can do anything.
yeah.
So like for me, I'm just excited because they could just do anything. Because if they really wanted to, they could bring back like 1,000 Zacks. They could bring Sora. They could bring anyone from any.
Oh my
They could
god.
bring like anyone from any timeline, and that's like my problem overall with time travel because like you can make up anything.
They're gonna pull the Avengers Endgame where the Doctor Strange portals open, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been on this. One of my theories was because I've been on this since the remake ended, but like I really hope that they bring back the original crew from the OG storyline, like the Advent Children crew, because I've been on this because like once they changed the voice cast from the original team, the original cast to this new one here, I had this gut feeling like why would they change it if they were going to, because apparently I don't know if this is true. I could be wrong, but the original cast was already selected. I believe that they were in the works of like recording the lines and then they just got brushed off. I'm feeling my theory is that all that is just to speculate that at the end of this third one that they come back in. So you have our new crew. If there's multiple Arabs and multiple Zacks, I'm pretty sure there's multiple Clouds and multiple, our members. And so maybe the Advent Children crew come in and they help battle at the end with Zach. And so I don't know. That's one of my things. I hope if that's the case, I hope that happens just for fan service. Cause like, dude, that means we never lost the Advent Children timeline. Like that, they are still there. We're just focused on this. We're just focused on this new one here. But there's one thing that I thought they were gonna touch upon that they didn't was Deep Ground, because in Remake we got to they showed Weiss and Nero they weren't in this one.
Oh
in
yeah,
Rebirth.
they revealed them at the end of Integrate with the
Yeah.
Yuffie's. Yeah, yeah. I am actually surprised we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything on them or any sort of secrets on them because we didn't. No, now that I've seen any,
No.
they're
If anything, like it's just Chadley maybe, because we see what where the real Chad is at. We see his body in the
mhm.
operating room. Like that's the real him.
Yeah,
And then
and they already confirmed there's no DLCs for Rebirth.
yeah.
So we may either see them as like side bosses, as side quest bosses for the final one. Because if you think about it, there isn't too much story left over because they went over a lot.
Yeah.
So they could almost do anything for this next game.
I was reading online. I think they said that Wu Tai is going to be a big part of the third one because of the whole like political aspect of it, where Wu Tai and Midgar are at war. So
Yeah,
think,
even though you don't really see much of it, you only
Yeah.
we hear more than we see because even in the game there wasn't much at all. All we had was just if we wanted to go there for, we could even skip there, but then we either go there for because that's where Yuffie's story, but also that's
Mhm.
where we finish off Don's story because that's where the Don
Yeah.
Corneo dies.
yeah, yeah. I think Wu Tai would definitely have a bigger part for sure. I can only imagine the map for Wu Tai. That's gonna be a crazy big map.
It's gonna be Naruto.
Yeah, dude. And you're gonna be climbing on roofs and shit. You gotta use like the rope.
Tifa's
and
gonna
shit.
steal everything again.
Yeah,
Go through the whole arc.
that's gonna be crazy. Wu Tai's gonna be fun. Oh, dude, did you play Ever Crisis? Because they introduced that one character too, that Glenn character that turned out to be like another Sephiroth variant.
I quit halfway through, or well, I quit like a month in just because it's another gacha game. But Glenn is the guy with the blonde hair, right?
Yeah, he
And
showed up
had,
to
like,
Rufus, and apparently, like Rufus can see different timelines too. Apparently, or I think he's connected in some sort of way. Like,
I think what happened was like they all the soldiers, ex-soldiers died during
Mhm.
the wars, and then Sephiroth grew, and then that's pretty much all it comes down to. And it's Ever Crisis is mostly about what happened, what Cloud did between him getting to Midgar and to him joining Avalanche, and then because we saw a lot of side stories of Tifa finding Cloud, and then also the main story of that one is mostly explaining how Wutai became what it is, and like the war, right? There was like the ex-soldier wars or whatever. But I don't remember, what was it between Wutai and Midgar?
Yeah, because I think it was in Crisis Core, Wu Tai was the quote unquote enemy, because that's why Sephiroth was the hero, because he helped fight that war in Wu Tai. But like I think with Glenn being a new character they introduced, and then you find out that he's one of the arbiters, and he's also part of Sephiroth, and then again with that other soldier from Remake, that guy with the motorcycle, you battle him at Nibelheim, and he ended up becoming like another hooded guy. So
Oh yeah, because Sephiroth is or Sephiroth or Genova is they're sort of controlling the events because they're controlling Rufus and by showing him a fake clone of whatever.
Yeah, so like I wish they touched up more on that too, because that was just more of like a teaser at the end, and I was like, man, that just felt, I don't know, for me it felt kind of out of place, because like after we experienced with the party and they just shoot to Rufus, and like we barely did anything with him, like with him and the Turks, like they kind of just were there. But like I said, again, with this third one being with as big as this game was, I can only imagine how big this next game, this finale is. Apparently, I don't know, I could be wrong. Don't quote me, but I think they're saving it for PS6 because I don't think this is going to be a PS5 release.
It'll be a PS5. It'll be a PS5, no doubt. We're not there yet, because if anything, it doesn't matter at this point anymore, because then they're moving towards PC anyways, because it's going to start coming on PC. So
that's true. Yeah, because I think this is a whole different topic that I know that me and you can get on, because I know PlayStation got the exclusive for the first drop, and then like if you're patient enough, you could just wait till they get it on Steam, or
that's what it is though, because 16 just came out on the Xbox like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. You could just wait for them to release it, but if you really want to play it, then you got to get the PlayStation. But yeah, I think, dude, like we covered a lot, man. I just
there's a lot to cover. This is a big ass game.
it's
But
just, I guess for you, Mong, like what are your thoughts on I guess for theory crafting? Like what do you think will happen? I know we touched up on it a little bit already, but after all, like what do you think will happen after for this next game? Like what do you think will happen?
I mean, honestly, the good thing about it is the way it ends is like they've deliberately set it towards where it's very hard to theory craft because anything can happen, especially with time travel. Because
Yeah.
so far, all we know is that Cloud's kind of going crazy, so it's more or less going to be about him this time more than ever. Because before Genova and Sephiroth weren't really aware of Cloud during the time, he was just like a regular guy that would just had Genova cells. But like now it seems more like Sephiroth focusing in on Cloud and trying to get him to turn to the dark side because he did have multiple moments in the last game to go
Yeah.
evil. So I'm thinking he might go even worse in this next game. And then there's gonna be like an X factor for Cloud to bring Cloud back or defeat Cloud. Like
It's
maybe
gonna be
being
Zach.
if it is Zach, how, right? That's just gonna be the real question. How is it gonna be Zach? Is it still gonna be up to Tifa? Because Tifa at the end of the day is gonna have to do it, even though
Yeah.
they even gave her more this time because she almost dies in this one. And
Oh
Rebirth,
yeah, because she saw the weapon.
yeah,
Yeah.
she fell in and she got swallowed by a weapon, and then
Yeah.
she saw that the live stream is having an internal battle between.
Yep. So I think that's gonna be a big part in the next game too. Yep.
And it's just kind of weird how Tifa survived that, but okay, I guess. Honestly, it's gonna be a mix of everything. I'm gonna say because there isn't too much story left, there's gonna be a ton of side content for like defeating Wutai and bringing in like all the other villains like Ace. We're gonna see them possibly either show up as side missions or pre or post boss fights. It's gonna just be one big battle, and then Zach's gonna have a big part. And I think if you're right about the voice casting and the way it is, we might honestly anything can happen. We could see the entire Advent children could come in and save the day, and having Advent and Cloud come in and save Cloud.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like if that happens, as a fan, I'm going to geek.
I want to geek, but man, that just sounds so stupid.
Imagine like Advent Children Cloud coming in with his motorcycle, jumps off a roof like a mountain pass.
He is the strongest. He did beat
Cloud.
Sephiroth 101.
He's the one that's good, and his sword splits. Like, dude, that's gonna be so cool to see that in this game.
We'll see. That's just nerd right now. I just think that's just kind of that's whack. I mean, if they're gonna do it, they might as well. But also, that's just, dude, like that's why I don't like the train travel part. It's so messy. It's like
it's such a cop out.
I also just don't like the way that the endings are going nowadays because there's so much going on now. You can't really feel anything because it's like the most confusion, right? Versus like you bring back 10, right? 10's ending was, if you think about it, it was very simple and very understandable, and it just did one thing and it made you cry.
Yeah.
And then I guess 7's ending isn't known to be the best either, right? Because 7 wasn't known to have the greatest ending. It was just the idea of the game was more important than the actual ending. And then 8 had a decent ending. Then 9 was just like the most like classic game out of. I think 9 is probably the best one in terms of having a classic experience. But 7 just has the right ideas with the cyberpunk and stuff.
Yeah.
I think
the story was written really well, but yeah, like you said, the ending was just, I don't know. I'm not too big. I think 10 has the best ending. I'm just a 10 bias, but 7. I think overall 7 had a really good way to explain the lore and the story, and then there was just so much mystery. Like like we've been saying with Sephiroth and Genova, and Cloud. Excuse me, and they did that really well. I mean, like 7 wouldn't be as if 7 wasn't great, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing now with 7. It's just there's like to piggyback on the whole multiverse thing, like you said. I think it's just leaving these open-ended endings doesn't solidify the story, because like if they give you an ending, then there's always the string of what if this happens. There's no closure in this game. Like I hope that at the end of this Rebirth remake trilogy, hopefully it's a trilogy, and that they just give us a solid ending and not and not like and Cloud and the crew will return. Like, dude, we're not trying to be Marvel here, man. Like, we want a good ending. like give us a decent ending. That's all we're asking. Just make sure our ending's solid. There's no loose ends.
Not confusing, because the last two have been confusing. Because dude, the ending of Remake and Rebirth combined, it's like pure confusion.
Yeah, good. Like I said, because it's just so open ended. It's just like, yes, they gave us a good ending, good visual and all that, but it's just narrative wise, it's just like why?
Well, it's more annoying now because Rebirth, the first 90% of the game was so good because it wasn't anything to do with the timeline stuff.
Yeah, it was like a solid story up until where they just expanded the timelines. It's like, okay, nothing's there's no closure. There's no closure.
But it's hard to hate it too, just because these are pretty good. I think they do a lot of these characters. Overall, they do the game justice in terms of bringing out the characters. And, and it's much more of a movie than you would think.
Oh yeah, dude. Look, we say this about this game, but like I said, like I've been saying about 7, the narrative wise, they flesh out all the characters. They expanded on the lore. They added new things. They retconned some things. It's just like I'm glad that they're touching up on like these small details that we didn't think would be important, and then like it's just an eye-opening experience. Like, whoa, this is so cool now. So I give them that. But like I said, with how Nomura does his stories and like how he did Kingdom Hearts, we're just gonna have so many years of waiting. I think that's what kills our experience is the wait time. Because like look at Kingdom Hearts 3, right?
Yeah.
We knew Kingdom Hearts 2, the way how it ended, that could have been it. I would have been happy with that ending. We wait 10 plus years for Kingdom Hearts 3 just to be kind of underwhelmed by it. So,
underwhelmed. Like, 0 Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah.
And another open-ended ending.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that, I hope that's not the case, man. Like
and they character assassinate every other character that came before because they had to bring him back.
Yeah, they brought them all back. I'm like, dude,
why?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. I hope that with 7 they don't pull that shit, man. Because I would be so mad if they pull that shit. Because
3 is
as much as I love Kingdom Hearts, Part 3 ruined it for me. Like honestly,
yeah. Because Dream Drop Distance started it when they brought in the multiple Zemnis, and then Dream Drop Distance, and then 3 just kind of like solidified how bad the series was because they had no respect for what made it great.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy characters.
They're the saving grace. We only want Kingdom Hearts because Final Fantasy. But but back to Rebirth. Like I said, but I bring that up because I hope that's not the case for this game. Like 7 is such a good story. The game's been great. The way how they've been carrying this game has been great. Just like for me as a fan, as someone who plays this game, please give us a good ending. Because if they pull some Kingdom Hearts 3 shit, and they're like, all right, so this trilogy or Rebirth remake is done, and then here's a second sequel trilogy or something, like I'm not doing that. Like if they pull some shit like that, I'm not playing it no more. Like you're beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for them to go wrong right now just because of gaming. Because I think right now their next biggest game coming on is the Tactics Reborn or Tactics Remake, which is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen some screenshots and stills of it. It looks really good.
I mean, just the fact that they did voice acting for the entire series. That's like part of the biggest thing. But yeah. We'll see. I think Square-Enix is just kind of it's a tough right now because I've been on the Magic card, so right now that's all I care about right now because I'm losing all my money on that right now. But we'll see.
Slight tangent, but what a great job that Magic did go the Final Fantasy route because man, people are going crazy for those cards.
It's crazy right now. I think it's like almost $1,300 for a collector booster, and that's like 8-pack, or no, it's about 6 or 12 packs per booster box.
Oh man!
So it's like almost like $100 per pack, which is wild.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see with Final Fantasy with all the new financial incentives because that card game probably made them so much money for doing nothing.
Oh yeah, dude! Like, great. Like, whoever thought of that to like collaborate with that, great job. Like smart business move. Like. I don't even play Magic, and I was like, do I really want to buy these cards just because of the Final Fantasy X crew? Because like that, but that's I only want Tidus and Yuna. That's all I want. I don't care about anything else. Because I seen the cards, I'm like, man, I'm like, oh, it looks.
Dude, they're
so
pretty
tempting.
good. Like
tempting to get.
They have like a bunch of the spoiler names too. Like there's
Yeah.
a Tidus card called it's a Spira's Dream.
And you showed me the one with like Aerith, like if she dies, then she comes back or some shit like that. Like they spoiled Aerith in there.
Oh yeah, no, their abilities, because Zach's
Yeah.
ability is you sacrifice him to protect another character,
Yeah.
and then Aerith is whenever she dies, her teammates get buffed.
So like they're sticking to the lore of the game, which I thought was cool. But essentially, I think this is pretty much it, man. We went through this pretty quickly, man. Which I like. Nice condensed episode. Good way to come back from the hiatus for Spoiler Force, to talk about this game, dude. I like when you were showing me the magic stuff. Like I just got done replaying 10, so I was on like that 10 high again, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
we should definitely do a Final Fantasy 10 episode down the road, like because that's my favorite Final Fantasy game.
I do end up coming back to it a lot because when I watch a lot of streamers play it, I'm like, dude, this is such a good game.
Dude, I'm telling you,
It's so
the
well.
story is so freaking good.
Besides the sped up voices.
Oh yeah. Like they have to do it to match the mouth, the flap of the mouth. Like there's like one part where Tidus was like, or at the end where Jack's like trying to talk to Tidus, and Tidus like, Dad, I hate you. He says it really quick, just to match the mouth flap. So like I thought that was pretty funny. But oh man, that game is so good.
It's aged so well. Yeah.
I love 10, and to anyone listening, please help me find a way to contact James Arnold Taylor or Heidi Buras, because I want to get those two on the podcast. The voices of Tidus and Yuna, man, that's end game for me. If I can just get them on this podcast to talk about their roles, and I know they probably get so many of the same questions and stuff, but that's end game for me, is to get James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Tidus, and Heidi Buras, the voice of Yuna, on this podcast, because I get so jealous seeing other groups. Like I don't know how they do it, man. There's one group like on YouTube. I think they work for a convention, that's why. But he got to interview Heidi Buras for like a good 20-25 minutes. I'm like, dude, I would love to have an opportunity to do that. Just talk to her about Yuna. But yeah, that hopefully that I can get them on the podcast one day. But essentially that's it, man. Moang, thank you for being on the show, man, to talk about Final Fantasy Rebirth, man. Like it's like I said, we condensed this as much as we could because we want folks listening to this to go experience the game yourself. Go play this game. Go play the OG. Go play Remake. Go play Rebirth. Go play Crisis Core. Watch the movie. Those are my recommendations. I don't think they got to play anything else, right?
No. None of the phone games are really that important.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just play the OG, man. OG holds up pretty well.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's essentially it, dude. Again, thank you for being on the podcast, man. Thank you for coming back on this on the show. I know it's been a while since we spoke too. So
yeah, it's been a minute.
But yeah, go play the game. And make sure you like, share, subscribe to Spoiler Force, and go. You can listen to this on audio platforms too. So go share that. Definitely tune in for this next episode I'm doing, because I'm gonna try to be not so much weekly again, but I am recording episodes again. So after this episode, I'm working on the Demon Slayer season 4 review. I'll have my cousin Bobby back on that show, on that episode. So we're going to talk about that just in time for the Demon Slayer. Did you see the Demon Slayer trailer? Oh my God. Oh, okay. After we get the recording, we can watch that, dude. I'm telling you, holy shit, dude. Like, I can't wait for the Demon Slayer movie, but that's for another day. Thank you guys so much, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to Spoiler Force Podcast. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Give a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. And we'll see you in the next episode.